What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another cold, wet, wintry day here in New Jersey. We still have our mess from pulling all of this stuff off of Mud Cricket, and while my parts are still not here yet, not looking like I'm going to have them for another week or so, I'm kind of like struggling for content. So one of the things that I wanted to do was on my light bars. They don't sit level. They kind of point down, and I cannot adjust them up anymore because of the way that they sit on the roof rack. And let me show you that right now. All right, so don't mind the mess in the background so much. I mean, it is a garage. Because these are pointing downward, we're gonna make a new bracket, one bracket for both lights. First thing we had to do is measure out how far apart they were, 4 3/4 inches. So right now the car's jacked up. So everything is like 5-degree angle coming downward. Now this right now is sitting at a 35 degree. I did re-drill the holes and kind of tweaked them a little bit. I thought that would be enough, but it's not. They do point right at the ground. I can't rotate these any farther back because of the way the brackets are. They're not technically designed to be on such a slope. Let's get to it. I do have some great tools at my disposal, this protractor being one of them. You can never have enough Minotoyo slide rules laying around. I've got quite a few of them. This is going to be my fold line. Now, this side here is going to be where the lights get mounted to. I am going to bend this. And then on the bottom side, which would be this side, is where it's going to mount to the thing. So we're going to have to trim all that out. All right, so this is what I've come up with so far. I am going to have to cut this out and see how it fits. I may have, some minor adjustments to make, so that's why we do it on paper first. Well, as you can see here, I don't know if you can see it on the other side. I do have some other holes where I was on the other side. Anyway, these are the original holes that I put in here, expecting it to land there, and it does not. So somewhere in my calculations, I am way off. But that's okay. We got them transferred, and we're going to calculate this angle and get everything squared away, and back to the drawing board. All right, so what I have done is I have propped these up exactly where they're going to be. I have marked the center of that bottom, the center of that bottom. Those are my original holes where I thought it was going to end up. It's not even close. Obviously these are a little off, but once I have that 30-degree mark on there, they should be perfectly level. I was very careful to make sure that cardstock stayed flat on the mount. I don't think I'm quite going to go with that look, but maybe. But let's get it started on another piece and trace it out, cut it out, see how it fits. Okay, so what I've done is I've used the point of my compass. Well, I can't believe I just moved that, but good thing I've already transferred center of that hole and center of this hole to my new sheet of paper, and we're just going to go off of that using the 30-degree mark to align the holes, and then I can use the original mount to make sure that wherever that 30-degree is, that I have the correct distance apart. All right, so this is the old one. Whoosh. There's the new one. And hopefully that works out, because my marks are all right where they need to be. So we're going to cut this one out, stick it up in there, and see what happens. Okay, still got to trim this point a little bit more. Okay, a little more on that notch. I can tell you it's catching the radius on this pipe right here is what's happening. Now I did design this so it stuck out just a little bit more, and that's it right there. Holes are lining up good. I think that's the ticket. Yes. right, so I know this is gonna seem a little confusing why this angle is the way it is. I didn't have a plate tall enough. I don't have a brake either, so I couldn't cut it out of a big piece of flat. Well, I could have, and then I could have welded it, but I do have a bunch of this stuff laying around. So what I decided to do was make my bracket out of this. We're gonna mount this in there. Once this is set up, I can trim it wherever I need to trim it. And then once it's in place, I'll just run a couple of bolts in it. And then it'll be also bolted from underneath. And I do have to trim this nose piece off a little bit. Try and make it look more aesthetically pleasing. The back, it'll work. And keep in mind that I have not, I haven't run this on the belt sander yet. So all of that will come into play. And then of course, when it's all finished, it'll be powder coated. I'm sorry, not powder coated. We're gonna spray paint it black and it should match, but that's a lot better than the way they were. I'm also going to drill these holes a little bit on the oversized side, and that way I can have some kind of adjustment. Now, all I gotta do, trim, well actually I don't need to trim that. I need to trim this. Don't put it back in here, test fit it. I do need to take some off the bottom because I was not planning to do the plate the way I am, but the bottom of this plate is taken up 1/8 of an inch, and this is already sitting on the bottom at 30 degrees, which is how they're gonna sit. They have a lot more room in between them than they did, and I think it's gonna work. I think it's gonna work out great, actually. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have finished trimming this out. It was hitting this bar here, which is no longer hitting. We've got this plate. Granted, it's not bolted in, but it's got a bolt through it, so it's lining it up proper. I do need to trim this little corner to bring it down and make it more aesthetically pleasing so it matches this thing. But I'll have to do that once it's bolted together. Then I can take the lights off and pull it off, screw it back together, and then do a final trim and sand. I got to get these sanded up, painted, and that's pretty much it. I mean, that's how it's going to look. Could be a little better up here, but you know, what are you going to do? Nobody's perfect, especially me. Few things I have left to do. I did mention trimming, sanding, but before I get into all that, I need to duplicate those two for the other side. And unfortunately, I have run out of time. I am going to have to call it a night so that you guys can watch it tomorrow. I wish I had more time to get this done so that you guys could see the finished product, but as cold as it is now, the paint's got to sit for a few days before you bolt anything together. Otherwise, you'll never get it apart. It'll like glue itself together, so to speak. We've almost hit 1,000 subs. I really wanted to do it before New Year's, and that didn't happen. That's okay. My 1 year mark is coming up, and I'm pretty sure we're going to hit that before then. To all of you, thank you so much. And to my sponsor, Kenny's VW Repair in Holiday, Florida. Thank you, brother. Greatly, greatly appreciate all of your support and everybody's support, really. Now, that being said, I have some really cool projects coming up, but I've got to get Mud Cricket done first. I've got the parts for the engine coming in. Hopefully, they'll be here next week before next video, I hope. The alternator is coming in tomorrow, so I'll have something to do engine-wise for the next video, pretty sure. Once all of this is done, then I can start on the camper trailer. I'm following in Gary's footsteps, if you will, but I think I beat him to the punch a while back. I had posted a little snippet of my suspension, and I don't know if anybody remembers that, but if you dig, you'll find it. But anyway, I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Be kind, be good, and we'll catch y'all on the flip side.